Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video playing Space Wars on the Vectrex. And as you can tell from my overlay, this is an original copy of Space Wars. I actually got it complete in box. I wanted to do a video about this because it's a little bit of a video response to something Alan Stewart, Meme Meister, said a little while ago on one of his Friday Waffles. Somebody had said, I think, what was a game that you played the least or didn't have that much nostalgia for, what have you. And he said this, Space Wars on the Vectrex. He finds it's kind of light and dull and not very compelling, which I find is so sad because Space War is such a great original game. Original meaning that it was one of the first. I mean, if you go back far enough, it's based on one of the first video games ever, Space War, by Steve Ritchie way back in the 60s. And there was a 1977 arcade machine from Cinematronics called Space War that is really, really good. I loved it. It was one of those machines that if I saw it somewhere, I would definitely throw some coins into it and play it. And the great thing about it is it had some variations. You could play with different types of stats and gravity wells and all these kinds of variations, things that are kind of gone from, or were removed from video games later on. Lunar Lander's another one. I've talked about it. You could make different selections in the game before you started it. Same with Space War. But it's obviously not one that a lot of people like very much, which is too bad, because I loved that arcade machine, and when I heard the Vectrex had Space Wars, I thought, yeah, I gotta get me a copy. This thing is so iconic and important to gaming in general. If you're watching there, you can see, this is just the attract mode, you can see that, oh, game is over actually. We've got two ships. One looks suspiciously a lot like an Imperial Star Destroyer, and one looks suspiciously a lot like the Starship Enterprise. They fly around, they shoot each other, they've got fuel, they've got bullets or rockets, and they've got a certain amount of time to destroy the enemy. Pretty straightforward, very basic idea for a game. But because of those variations, it's got a lot of replayability, and it's just a really, really good game. Similarly, I was listening to Vectrex Radio by Willie over at Arcade USA, and when they talked about Space Wars, they mentioned something that I want to try out here. They were saying that apparently there's a spot where you can sit right next to the sun in the center of the screen, and you're never going to get hit. So I want to see if I can recreate that. The other thing is, just talking about those variations, there's 7 different ways you can play, which go from easier to harder. And Willie was saying he can only win on setting number 7, which I find odd because that's the most expert level. So I'm just going to play game number 1 and give this a whirl. So that's me, the little destroyed now Enterprise at the bottom of the ship screen. You can see in the upper right corner and the upper left corner it says player 1 versus player 2. Player 2 is the CPU in this case, and he's kicking my butt. Oh, maybe I can get him finally. Hey, finally got him. Okay. Oh, now did you notice part of my ship got removed there just in that little bit of combat? That's significant because this game, like the original arcade machine, you can actually get damaged and it will affect your ship. You will actually not be able to fly around as quickly, or if they... I've actually seen cases in the original arcade machine, if you lose both of your engines, it's not like you're dead. You can just have the front of your cockpit bridge crew area flying around and possibly continue until you would get destroyed. Yeah, you see the player 2 there, he got part of his ship damaged, but he could continue to play. It's so cool. There we go. Be very careful here. Now let's see. So you can see there's some numbers at the top that are going down. They are an indication of your fuel and how many rockets you have. If either reach 0, then you're toast. Ah, see, there. He was wounded, and he's sort of moving slower, but he can actually still fight. That's really cool. I love the variation. It's a little bit, I guess in a way, it's like a Street Fighter situation. But imagine if you could just wound Ryu or Ken or one of those guys, like have them limp with their legs sort of in a damaged state. That's what I really like about Space War. You can be damaged, but continue to fight. So cool. And not very many games ever really built on that idea ever again. So it's a game from a bygone era that just doesn't really exist anymore. And, you know, definitely the Vectrex, being of its time, it showed what was possible. Now, let me just try. I don't know if I'm going to make it much farther in this game. This is the easiest setting, and the AI is a real killer in this game. Like, I don't really look forward to taking on harder levels of more expertise, but I guess we'll try it. Also, like the original arcade machine, there's a meteor in the center, or kind of floating around in the center of the screen. This was based on the old PDP game that Steve Ritchie came up with. I don't think there was a meteor in that. I could be wrong. I think they were just lucky enough to be able to get the game to go. Alright, so let's try again. I'm going to increase... Oh, no, I guess not. I'm going to see if I can sit right next to the star, as Willie says, and not get hit. Oh. Well, now I'm just that bridge section I talked about. Nope, he can totally destroy me. There goes that theory. I'm going to try this again. Moving real close to the sun, like Willie says. And if I just hover here... No, he can still get me. I don't know what Willie's talking about. Maybe there was like a certain side of the sun. What happens if I go to the underside? Yeah, I'm real close here. Nope, he got me. Maybe it's up at the top of the sun? Let's try that out. I can't really get much closer. Nope, he got me. I don't want to get too much closer because then... Yeah, no, I don't know what he's talking about. There is no way to just sit beside the sun and not be hurt. Okay, and there you go. You see, I've been damaged. I've got one engine and I'm moving slower than before. Very, very cool tactic or mechanic of the game that not a lot of other games ever had. So this is a really good Vectrex game. A really good game in general. The arcade original was awesome. I really like it. Ported to the Vectrex, and of course it's one of the few two-player Vectrex games. If I had somebody else that wanted to play this with me, I could hook up another controller if I had such a thing, and we could shoot against each other. So that would be very, very cool. Now I'm just gonna fly around here and see if we can get him. Aha! You'll notice he's not moving anymore. His fuel is at 0. He's still got 19 bullets. And my fuel is very low too. But this is something you don't see a lot of in games. Imagine if this was a Street Fighter scenario, to use that analogy again. Imagine Ken and Ryu kind of stuck on either side of the screen, too tired to move. That's what we've got here. You just don't see that in modern games anymore. Like, can I get him from this distance? No. So I have to move closer with my 9 fuel. Get closer. Okay, 7. Hey, there we go. Very, very cool. I like that. Now, rather than continue this game, let's reset. And I'm going to try game number 4, which is sort of what most people recommend for game variation. Let's give this a whirl. This is a combination of kind of a little more intermediate skill level required. And this is not going well already. The strength of gravity of the sun can be stronger. Jeez. You can mess with the strength of the gravity of the sun with these variations. And I don't recall... Ooh, okay. Oh, right into it. I think, yeah, this one's a bit more floaty. The other one, when I took my foot off the gas pedal, I would stop. This one I'm actually floating a bit. So that's interesting. But the AI is still supremely tough. And there is a bit more of an attraction in the sun here. Yeah, see, this is pulling me off my course, so this is maybe a better representation of the kind of cool things that can happen in this game. Like that. But it's not like it's any harder, because it already starts out tough as nails. This AI in this game... Oh, look at that, I'm getting pulled into the sun! Get me away! These are really great variations. I'm surprised not that many people like this game. Ah, jeez. Okay, well, I don't think the AI is that much easier or tougher. He's pretty tough to begin with. Just now we've got a few weird variations like the sun can pull me in. Let's try this game number 7 that Willie mentions. Because, yeah, according to the instructions here, 7 is the hardest setting. Oops, hang on, let's reset. Yeah, Game 7 has both the toughest, there we go, let's give this a whirl. The toughest AI, the most nasty gravity effect, and you just keep floating forever. Wow. How on earth does Willie win on this level? Jeez. Although I think the shots have a longer range, maybe. Ooh. Maybe there's just a lot of luck involved with this, so you get like a bit of a button masher, and then that's what allows you to continue. I don't know. This is a tough level. I think the AI itself remains the same, and probably I can see why, because with these early games, like how hard were they to program in a level of artificial intelligence to the game. So maybe there's certain tricks that they used to use. I imagine like in early rudimentary Pong games, they would just move the paddle as close or as far from the ball to kind of indicate easier or tougher opponents. So with this, maybe there's like some magic recipe of getting the level of intelligence of the bad guy to be tougher or weaker, but it's not like... Ooh, finally got him. Yeah, it's not like this game is that much harder or easier due to the AI. It's more because we're floating around and can possibly get drawn into the sun. So, yeah. I still say this is a really good game. I'm sorry Alan doesn't think too much of it in his collection of Vectrex games, but I'm very happy with it. Oh yeah, the range of the rockets is much greater in this setting too. Whoa! Oh, keep away from the sun. Yeah, it's just fun. I just love it. I think it's a really good game and a great recreation of a piece of history. Like, this was one of the first video games ever made. So I think it deserves its place in the pantheon, especially in Vectrex circles. I mean, this has got so much replayability, and it's got its place in history. So, Space Wars on the Vectrex. I highly recommend it. Well, as I get creamed here, I'm going to say until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.